Okay, you've egged me on. I'm gonna. Woo, Merry Christmas, everybody. You know, Christmas is year-round. I want to tell you my favorite Christmas stories of all time, and then give you one more that I think will set you free. One of my favorites is when I was a pastor, and believe it, I was a pastor for 22 years. I mean, remember I was over there at First Baptist, West Monroe. They had me for 4 years. That's all they could take.
Bless their heart.
And all I could take. In 1995, I left the pastorate to do what I'm doing. Free at last, thank God I'm free at last. And when I come to church here at North Monroe and I sit back there in my spot, you know, I have a little area I like to sit. And it sort of irritates me when when I do come home and somebody's sitting in it, you know. And I go, they ought to know I'm here 5 times a year. You know, I send in my tie. Bill told me he didn't care if I ever came, just send in the tie. And I come and I see my usher buddies and I go, hey, you know, and there's a spot where I like to be. Surely they could go up to them and go, hey, Brother Dennis is here, could y'all move over? Oh no, Laurie goes, honey, you're acting. You preached against that, now quit acting that way. Now we're sitting over here. Well, they ought to know. I like to sit on the end. You know, I like to sit on the end of the pew. Ma'am, you know what I'm talking about? I like to be on the end of the pew. Is that your man behind you? Yeah, I bet he like to be on the end of the pew too, don't you? You know, because sometimes that old knee gets acting up on you in there, fine. And I just like the end where you can sort of, you know, angle there and stare at people, you know, just. And, but anyhow, so, you know, I always have my spot where I like to sit and everything. And I look at Brother Bill. I love Brother Bill. And, you know, he's a good pastor. And I want to say many times if he would talk to me more, I could help him grow this church. You know, we're the fastest growing church in Louisiana. And Laurie goes, honey, we're the fastest growing. I said, I know, but if he would let me help him. He just don't call like he ought to call. He ought to call. I've been a pastor. You know, I know what it's like. I've been there. But right now, I'm, you know, left in 95. Free at last. Thank God I'm free at last. And I look at Brother Bill sometime. I go, he's still in bondage. He's still the pastor, you know, having to hang in there and do everything. But isn't he good? Isn't he good? Now, he's good. I love my pastor. I love him. But there's things I'm trying to get used to. I mean, I've been here 10 years, you know, he's been here, 10 years and counting, and I'm trying to get used to it. But I'm going to tell you something. When I got saved, you walk the aisle. You come forward, and you fill out a card. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
And then you give the card back. You don't get to keep the card. You have to give the card back. Raise your hand if that's how you got saved.
That's right.
That's the way it's supposed to happen.
Amen.
But you know how we do it. They just go to a connecting area out there. He said, go to the connecting area. That ain't right. That ain't right. And you know, when they go get Jesus out there, they get a coffee mug. I told Brother Bill I never got a coffee mug when I got saved. I said, what do I got to do to get a coffee mug? And he said, you got $10? I went, I love our church. It's such a joy to see things growing. We got children's building. I ain't even been in there, and we had to give to it. You know, I mean, children's been. We don't even have any kids. I mean, I want to have some grandbabies. Laurie is ready. We're ready to be grandparents. I said, listen, have the babies. We'll clothe the baby and put shoes on the baby, and Laurie can babysit. What's holding you back? Let's go. I'm afraid by the time I get a grandchild, I'll be in the 3rd stage of the assisted care living center. And when they bring the baby in, they go, Dad, here's your grandson. Hold him up. I'll go, ah! Only thing we'll have in common is we both wear pull-ups. You know what I'm saying? Good night. I'm ready for some babies, but anyhow. But when I watch Brother Bill and just little nuances in church, it have flashbacks when I was a pastor. I remember at Christmas time, way back in Rogers, Texas. Christmas time, everybody comes, you know, they're in the season, and they come to church to show, you know, their new little outfit and everything. And it's just, Christmas things are just great, them cantatas and everything, the cantatas, them big things. Richard, you know how you have them musical things, I mean, I love our minister of music, our music people, but, and I love ministers of music, but they think they own the church. But we love you through Jesus. But anyhow, back there, we're going to have a big service, and this lady, her husband would always go to sleep on me. And even in Christmas time when it's festive and everybody's got their video cameras. Back then there were big old video cameras, videoing the kids, and and you could see him just sort of, and all of a sudden when he was gone, he was just, and his mouth was open, and he looked dead. He looked dead. I mean, he was nasty looking. And I thought, man, if he's dying, I ain't gonna give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. That's nasty. I'll pop him in the chest, but I ain't. I'll let the wind blow where it will on that boat. I mean, no hard feelings, but he looked just but I'd keep on preaching and everything. Well, this lady, she was in her Sunday school class was the Dorcas class. The Dorcas class. And those were the ladies. That was the last class before you went to be with Jesus. And she was she was like 65-ish, but the oldest ones were like in 85-ish in that Dorcas class. And the younger one, 65, she was concerned about my husband going to sleep. And it just hurts me. I don't know what to do. I do not know what to do. Well, one of the older ladies in the Dorcas class said, well, let me tell you what I did when my husband was alive and did that. I got me some Limburger cheese. And I'd get a wad of it on my finger in the service. And right when he was just gone, I'd put my hand and just put it right there on his top lip. And he never slept through the church service ever again. Well, this sweet little lady, next service, here it is, Christmas time, everything's delightful, guests, visitors coming, family, and all of a sudden I'm doing one of my messages, and I'm excited, and I was young in the ministry. I was 25 years old at that church, my first senior pastor, I was the senior pastor. I was the only minister, but it sounds better, doesn't it? Senior pastor. And so I'm preaching, and there he goes. You can tell he just. And then all of a sudden, he's gone. I went, good night. And then all of a sudden, I noticed she opens up her purse and pulls out a little Ziploc bag and puts her finger, and I'm going, no. And grabbed a wad of it, and before I couldn't do nothing, and she just put it right there on his top lip. He stood up and said, get your feet off the pillowcases, baby. Get your feet off the pillowcases. We had revival that Sunday. I love Christmas time. I remember at Christmas time, we'd go out to Grandma and Grandpa's house. You can't beat Grandma and Grandpa's house. Mama, Papa, Mimi, Pops, Poops, Pops, Big Mama, Gaga, Gee. Them grandparents love going out to the farm. And Grandpa cut down a cedar tree near Elgin, Texas. I mean, went out, cut it down. We had big old bulbs, those Christmas bulbs, big bulbs. And remember, the wire had cloth around the wire. And we were never electrocuted. Now people don't touch the wire. We grabbed it, chewed on it, everything. Had icicles. When was the last time you had a dadgum icicle to put icicles on? That's pitiful, isn't it? Where's the icicles? Where you made that little chain of popcorn and you know what I mean? When was the last time you did that? It's a sad day. It's a sad day. But I'd go out there in Grandma and Grandpa's, and man, it was just so much fun. Spend the night with them. Sometimes go out there and spend the night ahead of time with Grandma and Grandpa, and just sleep in their bed. Oh, and when you were young, you couldn't get out of that bed because it was just soft. I don't know, it's feather bed, but you couldn't get out. And I was a bedwetter till I was in the 6th grade, and That'll set you free. But I remember finally when I was 9, I could get out from under the quilts. You know, when they put those quilts on you, it's hard to get up. But when I was 9, I could get out. And I'd go into the kitchen and look at Grandma and Grandpa's false teeth that they kept in a pickle jar. Ma'am, our people had false teeth. We grew up looking forward to false teeth. The last thing we took out of the casket were false teeth. Be a steward of your possessions. Somebody could wear those. And I remember I was staring at them that night. I was looking at them. Well, I was ADD back then, but we didn't know about ADD. You know, I just thinking one day I'll have them. I'll never have to have a cavity filled again. What a day. And just have my false teeth. And I looked at that pickle jar, and both sets of teeth were facing each other. It's just a beautiful picture of the one flesh relationship. And I looked at them, and I don't know what came over me, but I reached down and got Grandma's uppers and reached down and got her lower one, and they got hung in there. And I thought I was choking. I thought I was gagging. I was, and I was scared. And so I went to my grandma's side of the bed, and did I scare my grandma? I went right up to her and I went, Grandma! Grandma! And then she scared me when she said, what are you doing? Those are not good days. Don't you ever take somebody up and take their lemon. Don't you ever take their lemon. Take their lemon. That's the first time I ever heard speaking in tongues. That'll set you free, won't it? Oh, Christmas. I remember those toys that we would get back then. I wanted a G.I. Joe. So bad. You know, G.I. Joes, the arms would bend, the knees, the legs would bend, the head could cock back, the whole body could bend, you know. What did I get? My people, we weren't white collar, we weren't blue collar, we were more ring around the collar. We didn't get the original. Like we never got the PF flyers where you can jump and run higher and higher. We got some little, payday off brand. Didn't get no PF flyer. It's got PF flunkies. And I didn't get a G.I. Joe. I got a Stony. He was a knockoff of G.I. Joe. But he was stiff. He was just stiff the whole way. Not one part of his body bent. The arms just went round and round. Big old rubber band from here through the chest to the other. And, real tight. And if you ever broke that and tried to, with a new rubber band, one was just way out with the rubber band showing, and we'd act like that was tendons when we were playing Army. And the head only turned one way. Yeah. And he couldn't look up when he crawled, so he just like more of a bulldozer, just when you're playing Army. I remember when my sisters got Chatty Cathy. Remember Chatty Cathy? Pull the string and hear Chatty Cathy talk, and that worked for about a week. I was going to try it. All I knew about was lawnmowers. Just, where you grab the rope and I just thought, I wasn't trying to break it. I just went, and pow, there it went. Man, did I do a Chatty Cathy. My daddy gave me the right hand of Christian fellowship, I did Forrest Gump before Forrest Gump was popular. I said I was bit in the buttocks, and that's what it felt like. I was at a church up in Arkansas the other day, and somehow in my message I talked about Forrest Gump, and about being bit in the buttocks, and I didn't realize, I wasn't paying attention. They had a huge deaf ministry, and they had the person signing, and when I said bit in the buttocks, they didn't just spell bit in the buttocks. They went, and they lost it. First Baptist Springdale, Arkansas. They lost it. They lost it. I couldn't get control for about 10 minutes. I'd start back and they'd go. You know, you got to have a sense of humor. You know, lighten up, everybody, lighten up. Now, some of y'all bring to Christmas time your little pet peeves and everything. Laurie and I have them, you know, we have them. She's sitting back there, sort of away from me right now, but we have our little deals. Been married, 30 plus years, and I filed for an extension last year. Started hoping for a bonus, but a signing bonus, but anyhow. But we have our hot buttons. Here's my hot button. Well, here's my hot button. She hits. She'll go, my father fixed it all. We never hired anybody to fix anything. He fixed it all. He set up our Christmas tree. He did all the lights. We had characters in our front yard. We had lights all around the house. My father, he did it all. So then I hit her hot button and I said, well, my mama cooked. It felt good to get that out of my system. I think back to my Christmas days, and I'm an old baby boomer, and we couldn't afford the big tall tree, a 6 or 7 footer. So we'd buy a 4-footer and put it on a coffee stand. Y'all did the same. And it made it look tall. So when people drove by and they looked through the window, they went, whoa, they got a big tree. I remember when we got an aluminum foil tree. Aluminum foil.
Yeah.
And we purchased the light and that thing that would twirl with 3 colors and shoot colored light on there. How many had one? Oh, that was huge. And then to get a lava lamp and put on top of the TV and watch it blob up and blob down for hours. That was therapy for ADD people. I remember those times. I think back, we'd take pictures. With a real camera. See, now we just use our little iPhones and our phones. But back then, we had real cameras that had an attachment with the bulb. Remember how you'd have to have the bulb and put the bulb in there, and the bulb, to work, and if it didn't, you know what you had to do? Pull it out. Put it back in. Remember, Doc? Yeah, you're as old as I am. I can tell you that. And then remember, sometimes you dab it and put it in, and you go, and then you wasted another picture. And then you're getting upset because that's 2 pictures ruined. So then your wife would take it out. Sometimes you'd have 3 different relatives. But that's how you build up immunities, people. That's how you build up immunities. Back then, we hardly ever got sick at Christmas because we ate after each other. I think back to Christmas, those gifts that we'd get, a wood burning set. Remember those wood burning sets? They let us kids have wood burning sets. That thing could burn. Would burn you. And we would make our models. I'd make my models. I wouldn't use glue. I would melt the plastic just. And the only thing, remember those wood burning sets? The cord was that long. And you had to be next to the wall. Or in the corner, which I lived in. Remember? And then my sisters had a bake oven. We taught women to cook early on. I'm going to tell you, at Christmas time, my little wife, and I love her. I love her. I'm just getting it out in the open. She's here. It's our form of counseling. We'd be driving down the road. Where do you want to eat, honey? I don't care, okay? I don't care. We're hungry. Let's go eat. Let's go. Where do you want to eat? I said, I don't care, babe. Where do you want to eat? I don't care. I don't care. Make a decision. Okay, babe. All right, you want to go get a hamburger? Honey, you eat too many hamburgers. You do not eat hamburgers. I went, well, baby, what do you want? I don't care, okay? I don't care. You want some pizza? Honey, we're not eating pizza. All that is carbohydrates. Listen, Atkins is dead. I'm alive. Listen to me. Good old Christmas time. But we'd had that little bake oven, and I remember did y'all ever do this? Take that Play-Doh and cook it, see if it would rise. Boy, it'd burn and just shrivel up and just. You ever tried scraping that Play-Doh after it's burned off that little metal plate so that you can cook a real cookie? That's nasty. But it keeps you regular, I'll tell you that. I've tried to pass that on to the medical profession, but they haven't. I think back all those kind of gifts, and those were fun times, all those gifts and all those fun times. But I guess the best time is just when you eat together and you fellowship together and you have just fun together and you laugh together. You sit around that table together to eat. But before the table, there's the cooking. And boy, they can cook. Man, my mama, my Aunt Mary Lou, and my grandma could cook. But boy, the end result was to sit at that long table, and Grandma had a crocheted tablecloth that her mother had crocheted, huge. And we had angel hair there in the middle. Angel hair. Grandma said, don't touch it. That angel hair is glass. It's spun glass. It can cut you. It can cut you. Well, what are you going to do now? And we had those Christmas Santa pitcher, for like coffee or hot chocolate. And then the little Santa mugs around there. Some of y'all are going, no, that's not very spiritual. We'll get over it. It's my culture. And then Grandma had these big goblets, and they were nice goblets, and they were green glass. I don't know how to explain it, honey. You know what I'm talking about. Is there any better definition? Thank you very much for your contribution to the DVD today. Well, we got some from my grandma, during the estate sale, where you try to get stuff before paying for it. And we split them up with my two sisters, but we got about 4 of them, don't we? And they're beautiful. And we had all those big green that you drank out of at Christmas. And the salt shakers. We had regular salt shakers. And then we had, I don't know if this is appropriate to say, any of y'all have that long weenie dog salt and pepper shaker? The head was salt and was pepper. I guess I'm the redneck here. It was about that long. Remember, and if you were good at it, you could do 2 peoples at the same time. We would eat mashed taters, and we'd have green beans with ham hocks in there. Oh, good golly. And we had all the, mashed potatoes and everything. And Grandpa would always pour beets, give me a big old spoonful of beets, and the beet juice would go everywhere. I said, Grandpa, I don't want the beet juice everywhere. He said, it all goes to the same place. And I went, well, I like it to take turns. You know what I'm saying? But the beautiful sight. Oh, and I almost forgot another gift I just got to bring up. Every Christmas, I got soap on a rope. My grandma got me Avon soap on a rope every Christmas. The only danger of soap on a rope is sometimes you get carried away and you get a rope burn. Oh, don't act so holy. But here's what I have great memories of. My mama, Pauline Bernadine, 5 foot tall, healthy. She says, I think I have a gland problem. I went, right here, Mama. I don't know. And then she tells me, well, you're just like me. I said, thanks for the DNA, Mom. But I mean, my mama can mash them taters. She got that hanging down part on her arm and just started. You know, when Laurie tries to mash taters, Laurie started going. And my mama says, Laurie, let me help you. I mean, it's a shimmy. It's a gift. Listen, if you've got hanging down part on your arms, thank God for it. If you don't have it, you have not because you ask not. Pray that God will give you some hanging down part. My grandma, she had hanging down part. I mean, God had blessed her. I remember when I was little, and y'all may think this is inappropriate, but we were not modest. Our family was not modest. And I remember I'd be out there in the summer with her, and my job before we'd go to town is to talcum powder her backside. It's like a chalkboard. Well, back then you didn't take a bath every night. You took spit baths and you wore talcum powder to help with the perspiration. And you smell better. Then she'd put that sundress on. And she'd have that little Kleenex right here in her sleeve. How many times she'd pull that out? Blow in here. Blow. Put it back in there a little later on. All right, here. Spit on it. Clean your face up with it. Hey, I turned out all right. I'm okay. We would go to the town, and I remember we'd go to Ben Franklin, and sometimes I was just a little fella, and I'd lose her, but I was never scared. Never. Because all I had to do, I'd look on the floor and follow that talcum powder. And I'd find her every time. So my grandma, when she'd be in there, and my mama might be doing the mashed taters, okay? And my Aunt Mary Lou, she got hanging down part too. I mean, all three of them. I guess it's genetics. And so she might be whipping the eggs. You know, she just, I mean, it's amazing how the body works. And then my grandma might have that egg beater because she's trying to do that Cool Whip. We didn't have the artificial Cool Whip. We had whipped cream. And she just, with that little egg beater, thank you. And all three of them just are working. And all of them were talcum powder. And talcum powder just, it looked like a Snow White Christmas. And the talcum powder, it covered everything. I mean, the dough, the cookies, but you can't even taste it. I'm telling you, you cannot even taste it. It's like convection sugar. It ain't hurting nothing. And it does keep you regular too. There's several things that keep you regular. Oh, lighten up. Well, my last story I want to leave you with is a sweet, special lady, and her name was Maddie Lou Lester. She was like an extra mom to our family. Her birthday was December the 25th. And we got to celebrate it with her a lot of times. And I remember one time we were having Christmas at our house. And her kids were doing this and that with their kids. So she came over and had Christmas with us. And when she would pull in with her car. I mean, she drove, for the longest. She didn't go to be with the Lord till she was, 96, 97, somewhere in there. Maddie Lou Lester and my sweet little Maddie Lou. And she'd pull over into our driveway and we'd open up that trunk, and man, I'm talking green beans with ham hocks the way you need to have it, man. Listen, you got to die some way. Die happy. We pulled out those green beans, and she had all this food, and we would eat, and we enjoyed ourselves, and she was just a great lady. She was with it. She was one of those senior adults that just was with it. I remember one time I was on one of those diets way back there in the 90s, where you just drank the stuff like a shake. That was nasty. And I was on it for about a week, and she came out to the house, and she had a Mississippi mud cake. And she comes out there, Pastor, I've got this for you. I went, Maddie Lou, I'm on this, that powdered whatever it was, kind of drink. All you did was drink this shake. And I'm on that. I can't eat that. Yes, you can, too. I went, Maddie Lou, I can't. Yes, you are. Now eat it. She cut me a piece. I went, Maddie Lou, you know how church people are. Eat it. So I said, okay, this is for Jesus. I just ate that whole thing. And I'm going to tell you that with that powdered shake stuff, whoo, that did set me free. But anyhow, it was worth it for a little while. I loved Maddie Lou because she was for me. I remember one time she went and knocked on a door, someone who was against me, just went and read them the riot act. What a woman. Of course, she was the only woman that did that, but it was nice to have one in your corner. We loved Maddie Lou. And I remember that Christmas, we'd finished eating everything. And I'd heard of a story like this before, but I got to live it. And we'd finished with everything. Laurie, of course, she's a worker, and she was putting up stuff and kitchen, clearing the table. And Chad and Dusty still sitting there with us. And then Maddie Lou said those famous words, hold on to your fork. Right then, every fat cell in my body did the hallelujah chorus. Because I knew something good was coming. I thought, could it be Mayhaw jelly? So many people across America have no clue about Mayhaw jelly. You can swallow that just out of the jar if you work it right. Is that? Oh, Mayhaw jelly. Could it be that? Was it going to be another Mississippi mud cake? What was it going to be? I can handle it. I'm ready for it. All of a sudden, here comes pecan pie. Here comes a chess pie that had the butter blocks on there where they melted and looked like 4 little circles of butter that were so special. And then she brought a red velvet cake. My little Laurie likes red velvet. Y'all remember that if you're ever going to do something for her. If I die, bring over red velvet. If I die, she'll cry for a couple of weeks. And when she realizes how I'm going to leave her, she'll, whoa. And she'll say, whoo, think I'll go on a cruise with Charles Stanley. But, my wife is a good-looking woman, and I'm sure at my funeral there'll be some widower fellas. They'll be going, well, I may make a move in about 6 months. Well, let me just tell you something, buddy. When you go by my casket, take a good look, because she probably has taped on the casket a list of things I didn't get done. Count the cost, buddy. And if she does remarry, that's fine. That's all right. And if they go on a cruise, it's on me. I just hope that whoever she marries, some old boy, at least on the Alito deck, will go, "Old Dennis was a fine Christian. He was a fine Christian." You better believe it, buddy. I'm paying for your run. But anyway. Back there, all of a sudden, here we got that red velvet cake. Hold on to your fork, because we knew something was coming good. And you know, just like that, the good news, even at Christmas, hold on to your fork. Yeah, right now we celebrate that he's a little baby. And I know that's good and that's precious. And we love the Christmas time, and we love all the cantatas and things. One time I've been in church where they have a wire going from one end to another with an angel on there, just hung on that wire. And they even have it where it does a zip line in church, a zip line in church, with an angel all decorated up. And you know how that angel is, and they get sort of fancy sometimes with the music. And the angel is up there going, "Joy to the world, Jesus. Joy, 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 Jesus." If you're a Catholic visiting right now, you're happy. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm just going to tell you something real quick. I do not think that's the way. I don't think that's what the angel did back then. I don't think the angel was like that. I'll tell you what I think the angel's like. Who that? Who that? That be Jesus. Who that? Who that? That be Jesus. Who that? Who that? Who that? That be Jesus. I've lived here 21 years. Y'all had an effect on me in Louisiana. Well, it might be that way. Who knows? But even though that precious little baby was so precious, that Jesus, one day there'd be a crown of thorns on that little Jewish head. There'd be nails in those little palms of those little chubby hands. But even then we know that he would be resurrected. He sits at the right hand of God the Father. He makes intercession for you and me because he loves you so much and loves me so much, loves the world so much. Hold on to your fork. The best is yet to be. And one day, when you and I cross on over into glory, we'll finally get to taste manna.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be close to Bluebell. And Little Debbie Swiss roll cakes. Zebras. I love zebra. We'll have quail for breakfast. Benji's mama, my old buddy Benji, famous for the zipper story. His mom in Winfield, Louisiana. That's the first time I had quail, fried quail for breakfast, and gravy. I still have it right here on the side. I love your mama, Benji. I remember when I'd call to check on Benji, I said, "Ruth, this is Dennis Swanberg. Can I talk to Benji?" "How are you doing? How are you?" I'm fine. Can I talk to Benji?" "How's your mother and your father?" I said, "Ruth, this is long distance. Let's speed it up, you know." She introduced me to Community Blend Dark Roast. Somebody say amen. I'm not talking in-between roast. I'm not talking medium roast. I'm talking the original dark roast Community Blend that'll just, keep you going and going and going and going. One day we'll be in heaven and we'll enjoy the fruit of our labor and the presence of him. And even then, I believe there will be more. I wouldn't be surprised if Mattie Lou up in heaven will speak for the Lord. Everybody hold on to your fork. Because there's more, so much more than that first sweet day. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And say hello to heaven. We're all going to be there someday. God bless you. Enjoyed being with you today. today. Woo! Thank you. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Hold on to your fork.